Hello and welcome to my new podcast, Air and Space Stories. Are you ready for an exciting news? Fasten your seatbelts and enjoy your flight with me, Cinzia. This is episode 7, season 1. Once upon a time, in a world where the sky was the limit and beyond, some women dared to dream. They dreamed of soaring through the clouds and reaching for the stars. These women were pioneers in aerospace, and their contributions have left an indelible mark on history. One such woman was Amelia Earhart, born in 1897 in Kansas. Earhart was fascinated by planes from a young age. In 1928, she became the first woman to fly across the Atlantic Ocean as a passenger. 4 years later, she flew solo across the Atlantic, becoming the first woman to do so. Earhart's achievements inspired many women to pursue their dreams in aviation. Another trailblazer was Valentina Tereskova. In 1963, Tereskova became the first woman to fly in space aboard the Vostok 6 spacecraft. She orbited Earth 48 times during her 3-day mission, and her flight paved the way for more women to venture into space. Nancy Love was another influential woman in aerospace. During World War II, Love led a squadron of 28 women pilots who were part of the American Air Force Service Pilots program. The WASP flew military aircraft in non-combat situations and freed male pilots from combat duty. Love was one of the first women to fly advanced military aircraft, such as the P-51, P-38, B-25, and B-17. Sally Ride also made history when she became the first American woman to fly in space aboard the Space Shuttle Challenger in 1983. Ride's flight inspired many young girls to pursue careers in science and engineering. These are just some of the many influential women who have made their mark on aerospace history. Their courage and determination have paved the way for future generations of women to reach for the stars. Story number 1: The Starry Sky, Valentina Tereskova. She had dreamt of this moment since she was a little girl. She had watched the stars from her village and wondered what they were like up close. She had read books about space and admired the brave cosmonauts who had ventured into the unknown. She had trained hard for 2 years, enduring physical and mental challenges that tested her limits. And now she was here. She was inside a metal sphere, hurtling through space at 18,000 miles per hour. She was alone, but not lonely. She had a radio that connected her with Mission Control and her fellow cosmonaut Valery Bykovsky, who was orbiting Earth in another spacecraft. She also had a camera that recorded her every move and emotion. She felt a mix of awe and joy as she looked out of the window. She saw Earth as a blue-green ball surrounded by a thin layer of atmosphere. She saw continents and oceans, clouds and storms, day and night. She saw how beautiful and fragile it was. She also saw the stars. They were brighter and more numerous than she had ever seen before. They twinkled like jewels on a black velvet cloth. They seemed to beckon her to join them. She felt like she was part of something bigger than herself, something cosmic and eternal. She sang songs to herself, recited poems, and wrote letters to her family and friends. She performed experiments on herself and on plants that she brought with her. She reported her observations and sensations to Mission Control. She also encountered some difficulties. Her spacecraft malfunctioned several times, causing alarms to go off and temperatures to rise or fall dangerously. She suffered from nausea, headaches, fatigue, and insomnia. She missed fresh food and water. But she did not give up or complain. She fixed what she could with her tools and skills. She took medication for her symptoms. She drank tea from tubes. She reminded herself why she was here, to make history as the first woman in space, to advance scientific knowledge, to serve her country, to fulfill her dream. She completed 48 orbits around the Earth in 70 hours, 50 minutes and 8 seconds. She set a record for solo spacecraft that would not be broken until 1984 by American astronaut. She became an international celebrity and inspiration for many women who wanted to pursue an aerospace career. Story number 2. The Flying Lady. Amelia Earhart. She had always loved flying. She had learned to fly at a young age and had pursued her passion with determination and courage. She had broken records, set milestones, and inspired millions. She had also faced challenges, risks, and prejudices. She had endured crashes, injuries, and criticisms. She had fought for her rights, her opportunities, and her dreams. And now she was here. She was inside a red Lockheed Vega 5B, soaring over the Atlantic Ocean. She was alone but not afraid. She had a radio that connected her with ground stations and ships along her route. She also had a compass, a map, and a watch. She felt a sense of adventure and freedom as she looked out of the window. She saw water as far as the eye could see, sometimes calm and sometimes choppy. She saw clouds and fog, sun and the stars, and she saw how vast and mysterious it was. She also saw the horizon. It was her goal, her destination, her challenge. It was where she wanted to prove herself as a pilot and as a woman. She sang songs to herself, read books aloud, and wrote notes in her logbook. She checked her instruments, fuel level, and weather conditions. She reported her position and status to ground stations. She also encountered some difficulties. Her altimeter malfunctioned several times, causing her to fly too high or too low. Her exhaust manifold cracked, causing flames to shoot out of the engine. Her radio receptions were poor or non-existent at times, but she did not panic or give up. She fixed what she could with her tools and skills. She used landmarks like icebergs or ships for navigation. She relied on her intuition and experience. She reminded herself why she was here, to make history as the first woman to fly solo across the Atlantic, to advance aviation technology, to serve humanity, to fulfill her dream. She completed 2,026 miles from the Newfoundland to Ireland in 14 hours and 56 minutes. She set a record for solo transatlantic flight that would not be broken until 1950 by an American pilot. She became an international celebrity and an inspiration for many women who wanted to pursue aerospace careers. 5 years later, she was inside another Lockheed plane, a twin-engine Electra 10E, flying over the Pacific Ocean. She was with Fred Nolan, her navigator, on one of the last legs of their attempt to circumnavigate the globe. They were heading for Howland Island, a speck of land in a vast sea of blue. They never made it there. They lost contact with the white ship, the Itasca, due to radio interference and poor visibility. They searched for hours for their elusive destination, but they never found it. They ran out of fuel and plunged into the water. No one knows for sure what happened next. Some say they died on impact. Some said that they survived on a raft or on an island. Some others said that they were captured by the Japanese forces. But no one ever found them or their plane. What did they feel in those final moments? Did they feel fear or regret? Did they feel hope or despair? Or did they feel love and loneliness? We can only imagine what they felt as we remember what they did. Story number 3, The Launch Lady, Charlie Blackwell Thompson. She had always loved space. She had grown up watching Apollo missions on TV and reading science fiction books. She had dreamed of becoming an astronaut and exploring the stars. She also loved math and science. She had excelled in school and college, earning degrees in electrical engineering and computer science. She had pursued a career in aerospace engineering, working for NASA contractors and then NASA itself. She also faced challenges, risks, and changes. She had balanced her work and family life, raising 2 sons with her husband. She had adapted to different roles and projects, from shuttle launches to station operations. She had learned from her mentors and peers, developing her skills and leadership. And now she was here. She was the launch director for NASA Exploration Ground Systems program, based at NASA's Johnson Kennedy Space Center, the KSC. She oversaw the countdown and liftoff of NASA's Space Launch System, the SLS rocket, and Orion spacecraft during its first flight test for the mission called Artemis 1. She was the first woman to serve as a NASA launch director. She was responsible for leading a team of engineers, technicians, managers, and contractors who prepared the launch vehicle, the spacecraft, the ground systems, and the launch team for each mission. She felt a sense of pride and responsibility as she sat in the firing room 1 of the Launch Control Center, LSCC. She saw screens and consoles that display data and commands. She heard voices and beeps that communicate information and status. She also felt a sense of excitement and anticipation as she looked out of the window. She saw a towering rocket and a sleek capsule that carried hope and ambition. She saw how powerful and complex it was. She also saw the horizon. It was her goal, her destination, her challenge. It was where she wanted to send humans back to the moon and beyond. She followed procedures, protocols, and checklists. She coordinated with her teams, agencies, and partners. She made decisions, resolutions, and adjustments. She also encountered some difficulties. Her team faced technical issues, weather delays, and pandemic restrictions. Her mission faced budget cuts, schedule slips, and public skepticism. But she did not give up or panic. She solved what she could with her tools and resources. She used simulations, rehearsals, and reviews for verification. She relied on her vision and passion. She reminded herself why she was here: to make history as the first woman launch director, to advance space exploration technology, to serve humanity, to fulfill her dream. On November 16, 2022, she gave the final go-ahead for the liftoff of Artemis 1 from Launch Complex 39B at KSC to orbit around the moon for 10 days without a crew, but with science experiments on board. The rocket roared, the capsule soared, the ground cheered, the sky cleared. The mission succeeded, the milestone achieved, the legacy continued, the dream lived on. I really hope that this episode has inspired you, as all these 3 motivational stories have influenced me. Please share it with all women that love maths, engineering, science, and of course, aviation and space. Thank you for flying with me again. Hope you enjoy the flight and look forward to seeing you on the next one. Bye bye from Cinzia.